What's up, YouTube? It's dubkdadone Team DKF back again. Cards I wish were playable. Today we're going to be talking about the monsters. I appreciate you guys' support with the videos over spells and traps. However, some of you guys are missing the point of the videos. I'm talking about cards that have the potential to be good and playable. You know, not the one random deck you made and it does really good and you beat all your friends and your friends think it's cool, or you top some random shitty regional somewhere with it. Now, I'm talking about you go to a large event with several hundred players, and the last round of the event, the top tables, there's two or three people all running that card. That's what I mean by playable. Not, I mean, every card in the game is playable. You just put it in the deck and, ta-da, it's playable. I'm talking about, having an impact on the meta or being good enough that lots of people are running it. And it's not about creativity, because you guys need to understand there's nothing new under the sun. Everything has been tried. Just because you came up with this amazing deck idea doesn't mean that someone or somewhere else, someone has not thought of the same idea. People have tested and tested and tested all kinds of ideas. There's, tens of thousands of people who play this damn game. Don't think for a second that you're the first one to pick up a card and go, ooh, look at that. And don't think that just because somebody topped with the deck that you haven't seen before, that they were the creator. More times than not, they weren't the creator. They may have been the first one to give it large success, a big success, but more than likely they weren't the one that created it. And they may have borrowed ideas, or they may have expanded on an original concept and then made it their own. But all in all, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. That being said, let's go on to the monsters. Got Terror King Archfiend, Field Commander Roz, Turbo Cannon, and DD Sprite. So I'm going to speak louder because you guys complain that you can't hear me. Terror King Archfiend, long ass text. I'm not going to read it, but you guys know what this thing is. Level 4, 2,000 attack, 1,500 defense. You got to pay maintenance fee during your end phases every turn, and if you can't, he dies. You can negate cards that target him, by rolling a 2 or 5. And he's basically Hades. When he destroys the monster by battle, their effect is negated. And I always wanted this card to be playable. And again, I don't care that you made an Archfiend deck and it's really cool. I'm talking about, a card like this, the potential it would have on a meta if it were somehow, more playable by the fact that you have to set this card. This card cannot be normal summoned. So to get it out, you have to set it and then flip summon it. And that's too damn slow. You can Marauding Captain and special summon from your hand, or any of the other Marauding Captain type cards. And that's just too slow. My opponent summons Tengu and passes turn. I want to be able to drop Terror King Archfiend and run that shit over. That be done with it. Or hit a Sanguine or a Dandelion or a Spore or Glow Up Bulb. That's the potential of this card, if only you could normal summon the damn thing. Next card, Field Commander Roz. I really used to want to break this card so bad. I don't know if you guys remember this card from Phantom of Darkness. It's been reprinted a couple of times in the Warrior Structure deck, and then again in the introduction to the Xyz or the Xyz universe, or whatever the hell it's called. When this card is normal summon or special summon, choose one level 4 or lower warrior type monster from your deck, except Field Commander Roz, and place it on top of your deck. Now, I used to think that somewhere in that text there was a mechanic just waiting to be broken. So I'm like, okay, cool. Summon my Field Commander Roz, search my deck for DD Warrior Lady, put it on top of my deck, then play Archfiend's Oath. And look, I got my DD Warrior Lady to my hand. I mean, that's a shitty combo, man. I have to wait till I get my Archfiend's Oath, and then I only got the 3 Field Commander Rozes and Rhodas at 1, and it's just like, oh man. I mean, this dude, they could make him like just a generic Stratos, but at least it would have been cool if he was like, when he's normal summon, special summon, it's removed from play, and then your next standby phase, it comes to your hand. I mean, that could have been kind of cool. And he specifically only gets warriors. So I just feel that the card had potential, if only. And his stats weren't that amazing. He was only 1,600 attack, 1,200 defense. So he wasn't going to be sticking around very long, even when he came out. He came out during Dark Arm Return, and that sucker wasn't going anywhere. Imagine if he was playable, if you didn't have your Stratos, summon him, remove your Stratos, play Dimension Fusion, get your Stratos, do all kind of sexy shit. But it was not to be. Next card, Turbo Cannon. Once per turn, you can destroy one face-up monster on the field and inflict damage to its controller equal to half of its attack. Now, some people are glad that this was not a generic synchro. I mean, when it came out, it was damn near impossible to make him in the first place because you needed a level 2 you needed a level 2 tuner, and that was Turbo Rocket, and then a level 1 dude, so like a token or whatever, to bring it out. And it was just so bad, and I could just imagine if it was a generic monster. You could easily go Glow Up Bulb and 2 Dandelion tokens, or you could go stack for Plague with a Dandelion token, or Level Eater plus Plague, or whatever. The card just would have been so cool, and then you burn your opponent for that damage. And on the one hand, Dark Strike Fighter was banned because of the burn damage, but this dude only does half the damage. It's once per turn, and he takes up space in the extra deck, and you have to dedicate yourself to finding ways to bring that sucker out. Of course, you can bring him out now if you run the shitty Turbo Rocket, but it's just too clumsy, and I just feel that as a generic tuner, that thing would have been incredible. Next card, DD Sprite. You can special summon this card from your hand by removing from play one face-up monster you control. If you do, return the removed from play monster to the field during the next standby phase. Now, people run this card's nuts for the longest time until they realize the ruling that says that if DD Sprite leaves the field after activating its effect, the monster stays removed. So that right there just killed the card. If it wasn't for that ruling, this card would have been amazing. Could you imagine you protecting your Chaos Sorcerer or whatever? You summon Sorcerer, remove the monster, drop DD Sprite, synchro up or something, and then your Sorcerer stays removed from play and away from battle and other harm during your opponent's turn until your next standby phase, and then you come back and do some other things. I've tried to splash the deck in some quick draw variants, remove from play a token, sync with it, make formula, but it's just the fact that the monsters stay removed when this thing is removed from the field totally kills it. I just also want to say at this point that it was kind of difficult looking through these monsters, because there's like so many monsters that have potential, and I had to also question myself and say, well, that card actually would be too broken if it was playable. You might say the Turbo Cannon would be too broken if it was playable. The fact that you can get it back with the Bree Dragon after they've used effect, after they've killed it, and then Black Rose their field. But I really don't think so. I think that people would try to find ways to abuse it, and then they would move on because bringing it out would be difficult. And then like with DD Sprite, if the monster could come back, I really don't see any harm there. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't know. I understand Terror King Archfiend's kind of limitations, because at the time he was released during Dark Crisis, 2,000 attack was like mind-blowing. That much attack when usually the base stats were around 16. It was Donzelu was played around that time, but Donzelu wasn't even out yet. So you had the base stats in your monsters was like 1,400 attack, and this dude coming out of 2,000 attack, that he just would have been too dominating. Well, I hope you guys like the series. This wraps it up. Be sure to check out my blog. I have lots of new interesting things going up there several times a week. For you fathers out there, I've come across a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh dads. I'm starting to be more active in my father's blog. The link will be down below. It correlates to my second channel. I'll have the link down below. I'm going to try to start posting on that channel again. And again, what I'm talking about, this usually relates to father, because you know, being a dad and playing Yu-Gi-Oh has its own little challenges, and you know, there's a lot of dads out there who just want to talk to other dads about stuff, and that's what that's for. Next, I wanted to give a special shout out to Antonio Garcia over in South Korea, guy I've been talking to on Facebook. Him and his guys over there in the Army, they're holding it down for us, protecting us from evil. South Korea, playing Yu-Gi-Oh in their time off, and I think those guys are doing a really good job. So if you guys are looking for somebody in the Army to show your thanks to, look up Antonio Garcia. You should find him on my friends list and just add him as a friend. Let him know that you support him, you support what he's doing, support what his team is doing over there, and tell him dubkdad said what's up. Okay, the video's kind of long and I need to get out of here. I'm out.